Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is definitely one of my favorite games of 2024. MachineGames, Bethesda, and Lucasfilm brought together one of the coolest stories that I've seen in the Indiana Jones lineage. It came together with some of the most beautiful visuals I've ever seen in a game, and it feels really, really fun if you have that nostalgia for the Indiana Jones series. It is definitely something you should check out, and I think these are some of the reasons why. First off, let me just say, Indiana Jones as a game and as a series, as a lineage of work and an IP, I was really worried about this game kind of coming to market because, to be honest, if you're not a person who is over the age of 30, Indiana Jones doesn't really have any cultural relevancy for you in a lot of those ways. But for me, as a person who grew up with these movies, a person who has always thought of the kind of adventure and espionage that comes along with it, the tongue-in-cheek humor, the ability to kind of like dig into the past with the archaeology aspects of it. It really was a game that I was hoping MachineGames were going to come together with and really bring something special to the table. And they nailed it in so many different ways. When you got a chance to check out the preview that we shared on Spawn on Me a little bit earlier in the year, you know, some of the things that got into that conversation was, you know, from the team hearing about all the attention to detail, right? The way that this game was going to come to bring all of those pieces of the 1920s and 30s together to not only showcase the world in general, but the very specific parts of what Indiana Jones is as a game and is as a character and is as a world and all the things that kind of go within that sphere. And, you know, I was really skeptical. I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. You know, first-hand combat, first-person combat, hand-to-hand combat. I don't know if that's going to work really well. And coming out of the preview, I was still a little bit skeptical. But I have to say, after having multiple hours with this game and finishing it and completing it, this was one of my favorite experiences of 2024. It is definitely a game you need to check out. It is something that I think brings something special to the table. And it really showcases MachineGames' ability to really use some source material and squeeze every little bit out of it in a way that feels not only fun for folks like me who have that nostalgia, but if you're a person who is looking to, you know, play an adventure game that you haven't really dug into before, you want something that's not overly complicated but feels really smartly done, but also gives you all of these layers of some of the tried and true methods that we see in adventure games. It is really fun. It is a super fun game to play. I think the way that they've kind of captured Indiana Jones as a character with extraordinary work from Troy Baker, who, you know, the first couple moments of the game, you get a chance to hear his voice as Indy, and you're still hearing Troy's voice, but that melts away instantly.
What do you make of this?
It looks like the sigil of the Vatican Secret Archive, but there's something different about it. Are you sure you want to investigate this, Indy?
Look, things don't add up, and it's driving me crazy. There's more to that cat mummy, and I'm not letting that giant off the hook.
Like by the end of chapter 1, Troy Baker is Indiana Jones in the best ways, and he is really nailing this performance. And I have to give him massive props. I hope he wins some kind of award for it. I know folks have lots of thoughts about Troy's work and don't want him to be in everything, but you can see that he took the time to really pull in all the nuances of Harrison Ford as that character and really studied that character inside and out, because when a line hits, it sounds fine. When the grunts hit, those all sound like an Indiana Jones movie. The thing that they pulled together here with his work really brings something special to the table. I think the characters in themselves and of themselves all work really, really, really well. You know, Voss as the big bad.
Hochverrat! Mir untersteht die gesamte Wehrmacht! Ich könnte sie hier und jetzt erschießen und keiner würde es hinterfragen. Also hinterfragen auch Sie nicht meine Hingabe zum Führer!
Faszinierend. Wo waren die Affengeräusche? Ihren peinlichen Versuch, Dominanz zu zeigen, zu unterstreichen.
Is classic Nazi in the ways that we see in that kind of cartoonish, but also a little bit menacing way. He really does play that performance extremely well. The actress who plays Gina Lombardi, who is your, basically your sidekick throughout the game, really has this wonderful chemistry between the two characters. Gina and Indy do this very special thing together, and it pops off the screen in a way that if you are a fan of any of those old movies, you remember. It's one of the things that really brought together that series in a really fun way, was seeing, all of these female protagonists come together in and out of those series and be just as strong as Indy, and to be able to be just as smart as Indy in the ways that we know women can be. But it was really cool to be able to see that continue through this lineage of this game.
Enjoying the view?
Excuse me, Father.
Gallagher, is spying on people part of your daily nun routine, sister?
I was actually just bird watching.
Hell of a bird. Give me that. That's Emmerich Voss, German archaeologist, and leader of the Fears Occult Research Program.
And you know that how?
The Lord revealeth his secret unto his servants.
Is that so? Dr. Indiana Jones, Professor Archaeology Department,
Hey.
Marshall College, Bedford, Connecticut.
Yeah? And you ain't no nun, sweetheart.
You know nothing about me.
Well, I might not be a priest, but I'm pretty certain stealing is a straight no-hitter with the Ten Commandments. Not entirely certain what the rules are for a reporter.
How do you...
You were taking notes in shorthand.
I'm an investigative journalist, and right now I'm looking into the disappearance of someone very dear to me.
And it really did come to the forefront with her character being a fantastic character. I loved every time she was on screen. Like she, the kind of movie tropes of the movie heroine, and especially during that era, they nailed some of that stuff. Not only in the way that the performances came through, but small glimpses in the way that they shot the scenes. All of those pieces did this really special thing that if you remember that kind of era of movie, it's small differences of like, oh, we're going to put this eye shine over your eyes so that you just focus on their eyes and everything else is kind of shadowed in the shot. They took time to really dig into, the era specific art, and, all of the locales look ridiculously good. I was playing on my Xbox Series X, and I know that there is a kind of higher texture pack that goes along with that just automatically gets downloaded into the game. And this game sings on Xbox Series X. Like, this is one of the smoothest games I've gotten a chance to play on the console itself. And it feels like they optimized everything in the ways that they were supposed to. The game ran extremely smoothly. I only had a couple of times where the game would freeze up on me, but even then, a quick reload would get me back into the action really fast. And it felt comprehensive in the way that I expect a AAA title to kind of be in a game that Xbox is going to be leaning on as a flagship title for their console and for the work that they've been trying to do. They have nailed all of those pieces very, very specifically. This is a game that I think is going to either really have people enjoy it, or from a gameplay perspective, they're going to say, maybe this isn't enough, right? I think the couple of knocks that I would give on this game in a whole would be combat is still a little bit simplistic. The AI in this game is not very good. I will say that. I think the biggest knock I can give on Indiana Jones is that the AI is not very smart. There are parts of the game, because it relies on stealth a lot, you are often with your counterpart, Gina, kind of traversing spaces and hiding from Nazis so you can get the drop on them and get to your destination as a part of that particular part of the quest that you're on. And to be fair, you can be in stealth as Indy and Gina just runs around. Gina kind of just like, oh, she's over there, and she's like walking directly in front of a Nazi and just going through that space, and the Nazis don't see her at all most of the time. It's a thing that kind of pulls you out of the immersion of the game and out of the stealth a lot, but it is a thing that once you get used to it, you kind of don't think about it as much, and you continue to play the game as you would. But it is a thing that definitely comes across as something that I would love to see them tweak in an upcoming patch. I think it's something that deserves that kind of layer of care, because it does really add to, the game being exactly what you want from a more stealthy kind of game in that respect. But I think overall presentation of what this game is supposed to be, it feels like you are playing an Indiana Jones movie. Like, again, I think if that was the kind of crux of what this is supposed to represent, they are nailing that 1,000%. Everything from the music, everything from, the humor, the side quests are really smartly done. And some of them have some really great, like, Indiana Jones moments in them. There's a very specific one that I love, and that I loved, and I got a chance to check out when you're in the Vatican section of the game, and it deals with the confessional. That's all I'll say. But I think that moment really pulled me into this universe in a way that made me say, they are really digging deep into what this ethos of this game is supposed to be. What is this world supposed to be, and how do we represent what we've seen in the movies digitally in a game like this? And I just came away smiling after I got the end credits late last night. I sat there for a moment and I thought about what I experienced, and I was like, damn, that was a really good experience. I think this is a game that if you have that in your heart and you're ready to play something that is not perfect, again, there are small things in there from multiple angles that I would love to see them work on. I think some of the combat things are a little bit janky. I think, moving from gunplay to kind of more melee combat is a little bit hard. Not hard. It's a little bit, it's not as smooth as I would want it to be. But I think, if you go into this game looking for an adventure, if you go into this game having that nostalgia in your heart, and you go into this game hoping for a good time, you will find it in Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. It is by far one of my favorite games of the year. I think all those small elements within that larger sphere of what this game can be and what it actually is trying to convey come through in spades. Tony Todd, his character, at first I was worried because there was a moment where he first kind of comes into the scenes in a couple of scenes after his initial appearance. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this character. It feels a little bit extra in terms of like big black brute, to be fair. But later on you get a chance to see not only how his character evolves, but how important his character is to the rest of the game and why he's, a part of this sect that you wind up kind of unveiling later in the game. And I think, to be fair, after his passing, I think one of the things that came through in his appearance was, I'll just say this because I don't want spoilers, but he gets an amazing homage in an interesting kind of like existential way, if you want to think about it that way. Again, I don't want to give any spoilers, but I think if this is the last piece of material that we're going to see Tony Todd in any form, I think this is a perfect send-off for him, which made me really happy as a person who loves Tony Todd and getting a chance to see him in this game. Lastly, I think the other part of this game that I was hoping for and didn't necessarily get was, one of the things about the Indiana Jones space is that he's this archaeologist. He's traveling all these spaces, and he's always coming up against these catacombs and these deeply implanted places that are, have traps for him because, he's basically a treasure hunter, right? And a part of the kind of what Indiana Jones is and what makes him him is that he is not only kind of fearless as a regular teacher dude, which is also always weird, but there's danger there for him. Like, he's going into these places and there's traps and all these things alongside puzzles that he has to figure out, which I think are really well done. I think the puzzles are really smart. I think they're not complicated. They're not overly complicated. Some of them you don't really have to there are some big ones and then there are smaller ones that give you, currency or they give you opportunities to kind of gain access to certain things. And it doesn't handhold you, but it gives you enough space to figure things out on your own while also giving you reasonable hints that aren't like blasted at you, which I love. But I wanted more traps. I wanted more danger for him in these spaces that didn't come from the actual enemies in the world and the fascists and the Nazis in the space. I wanted there to be kind of more environmental traps in that conversation that you had to figure out a way to dodge through or duck through or move your way and maneuver your way through. And that was a little bit of a disappointment. I was hoping for more of that as well in a game like this, where you have the opportunity to kind of do that in a way that makes sense and fits into the world and does all those pieces for you. In conclusion, again, like I am blown away by this game. Like, this isn't a perfect game at all. But it is definitely one of my favorite games of this year. I want more. I would love to see the team get another shot at a game like this or another shot at another IP like this, because I think there's a space for it that's not Nathan Drake and is not the usual, the Lara Crofts in this way. Like, pull some of these IPs that we've known over the years that we've grown up with and really take the time to dig into what those characters are and what those worlds mean for everybody else who's gotten a chance to play this. And it does really pull together some of the best bits of what an Indiana Jones movie would be in game form. And I have to give them nothing but props for pulling that off. That's not easy. It's extremely hard to really get that right. And you can tell that, over the 5+ years of development that they have been thinking about this in every minute detail, and every minute detail was accounted for. And all of those pieces came together to give me one of my favorite games of the year. So massive props to the team, massive props to everybody else who's going to get a chance to play this and get a chance to kind of pull this into your body and really feel it of what Indiana Jones was. And if you are a new person to Indiana Jones, again, there's going to be some things in there that you're going to be like, that doesn't really make any sense for a 2024 game. But it is replicating something that was of our era. It was a millennial boomer kind of era game or era a piece of art. So having that in the back of your mind will help you kind of guide you through some of those pieces, and Gen X and Gen X folks. But like, it is something that you should take time with. This is not a game that you should rush. There were moments where I was like, man, I just left this locale. I really wish I could go back. And you can, the new game plus part of it is in there. But I never felt like any of the side quests were just side quests for the sake of it. It never felt like that. It made me really hyped and excited to go back and go check out some of the things that I missed, and to take some time in the spaces that I was in, to be able to really, applaud and really celebrate the work that was happening here in this game. So massive love to all of you all for watching this. And thank you so much for paying attention and checking it out. Please go check out more of our work on Spawn on Me. Go check us out on all podcast platforms. Go check us out on Blue Sky. We're now on Blue Sky as well. So definitely take time with this game. Enjoy it. Enjoy what this is supposed to be. And really pull that energy into your body and really just feel what this is trying to convey, and have fun with it, because it's a really fun game. I'm sad that it is not in the running for a Game of the Year nomination, because it came so late into the year. But Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, I'm going back to play some more of that very, very soon to go finish up some of the things I didn't get a chance to do, and I think you should too. So much love to you all. Have a wonderful rest of your week. We'll all see you soon, and peace.